You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Trick or treat, Lone Star Radio listeners. This is Dick, the general manager, taking this quick moment to remind you that Lone Star Community Radio is looking to fill some of our talk show slots along with some of our DJ slots. We have a new show airing on the 10th, Making Connections with Stacey Harris, which will air every second Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Make sure to check it out along with our other programs on Lone Star Community Radio. For more information on Lone Star Community Radio, visit us online at irlonestar.com. And again, if you're interested in doing something with us, call the station 936-647-3776. Thanks for checking out this recording, and I hope you guys enjoy.
LoneStar.com.
Shall we begin?
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub. Connor here. We got Dick right over there.
Beatbox Dick.
And guess who we also have today?
Right?
We got producer Jake, intern Jake.
Have you guys missed me? What's up,
back.
Stubbies?
He's back, but this is such a tease though, because he's back today. Here today, gone tomorrow though.
All sorts of ins and outs.
Well, he's a man of the county, so he's everywhere.
He is all over the place. Jake's got himself a real job, a big boy job.
Something that pays.
Something that actually pays, unlike working here with us. And anyways, we're glad to have him today. Always a better show when Jake's around. He brings a lot to the show. So what we got today, we are going to rewind some of the movies that we've seen in the last week. We're going to be doing a grand ticket giveaway. So this is a little bit of news. Chris Appel, been talking to him over at the Grand. We're going to try to get him coming in on a regular basis. Trying to figure out exactly what that looks like. He's got also a big boy job over there at the theater. But we're hoping to have him in next week and then have him coming in regularly to join in with Dick and I because he adds a lot to the show. We always love having him, and he has a unique perspective there, being the theater owner. Dick and I are just two guys that watch movies sometimes, but he's somebody who lives it. He lives it. He lives the life.
We should get his wife in.
Yeah, why?
I bet that would be a real polarizing interview.
Just to see what she has to say.
Yeah,
she probably hates movies because it probably
I think about that. Yeah, it's like,
oh, she's like, oh, that you mean that?
Well,
freaking
not even
theater?
that. No, not even that. It'd be like, what do you want to do for date night? You want to go to the movie theater?
Yeah.
Oh, come on! I mean, it's such a cheap date. It's free.
He probably, I bet he brings home popcorn like on the reg and those big. Have you ever seen at the movie theater when they're cleaning out the popcorn bins? They put them in these giant black trash bags. I don't know what they do with it.
Wait
Maybe
a
that's how
second.
they
What are you doing there that late?
I'm diving through the dumpsters,
Yeah,
man.
what's going on with that?
Dude, the nacho cheese is cold but still tasty. I'm just kidding. That's disgusting.
Oh,
That's
right.
disgusting. All right. Also, this is looking ahead, but it has very much not been planned. But Dick and I have been talking a little bit about trying to have a live event coming up sometime in the next few months. So we're working on the details for that. What I envision it being is basically just a chance for the Stubbies to all get together. Maybe find a place where we can crack a few cold ones with the boys, something like that, and the girls. All are welcome. But anyways, we're trying to figure exactly what that would be like. If you have any input, anything you think would be a fun thing for us to all do when we get together, you can always send us a message on Facebook, Ticket Stub Podcast. You can message us on our Twitter at @the_Ticket Stub, or you can always send us an email at theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. And make sure you're always subscribing to our podcast feeds on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, and you can always listen live at 104.5 or 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Dick, my man, how are things going with you?
Going good, man. We're getting ready for the Conrocation Cat Festival in downtown. Last weekend we
Say
had a
that
bunch
3 times
of
fast. Am I right?
Yeah.
Conrocation.
But that's gonna be a lot of fun. I encourage folks. The tickets are really inexpensive for all weekend. $20 all weekend, right
Really?
there. So that's pretty cool.
So for those that might not know, like, what is that? I mean, it's just
Basically
catfish and
downtown Conroe gets taken over. Gated. It basically becomes a gated community, and you have to have a wristband to get into this gated community. And they have 3 stages of music. It supports the nonprofit Friends of Conroe, so ticket sales go to that. And there's going to be catfish. There's going to be carnival games, all that kind of stuff. It's really a neat experience if you frequently go to jail at the courthouse. The whole downtown literally gets taken over, so you cannot get in. You can't drive through downtown.
So this is the time to do crime, right? Because like they can't bring you to court for the next 3 days.
For the next couple of days. But if you're actually traveling downtown right now, you can see them setting up all around. And it's a cool event. I really encourage people to come check it out. It's a lot of fun. And then, of course, we'll be here. And then the last weekend was a lot of fun, man. I met one of our stubbies.
Yeah, you told me about
out in
this.
the wild.
Stubby in the wild.
And
It's a rare sighting.
he started quizzing me, and I'm like, man, come on, like I don't know every movie. That's one thing you gotta remember. I'm probably the worst person to have a movie show, but
Okay,
you know
well,
what?
good.
At least I'm the producer, and
There we
I
go.
get to stomp around and be the Harvey Weinstein of the group,
Oh,
right?
hey, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Heyo.
We're going to talk a little more about that in just a minute. Well, so he stumped you? He hit you with some movie trivia?
Oh, well, it was one of those.
Did he ask you to
It's
say
one of
some
those
names?
exchanges where people are really excited and they're like, "Oh, hey," I'm like, "Wait a second, you're trying to ask me a question about the movie Vacation?" And then he's like, "Yeah, what about that? You know, the line?" And I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about, man."
What people don't realize is we get hit up, like we can't even walk down the street anymore at this point without people bombarding us, wanting autographs, wanting photos, wanting to just talk to the host of the Ticket Stub. So guys, like we know
Well, it's
that
more
we're,
of Connor now since he stands up.
I stand up now.
He's the alpha
yeah.
of the group.
So I can assert my dominance.
We
I
got
decided to start standing.
We got the alpha with
No,
us.
I feel like it makes the blood flow a little bit more, you know, it brings my energy, brings my, my chakra is really more in tune when I stand up. But anyways, so you met a stubby in the wild. That's exciting. Guys, if you ever see us, please don't ask us movie trivia because it'll make us look stupid, but go ahead and come and say, hey, we'd love to hear that. We love to know people are listening out there, that we're not just talking into these microphones and it's not actually going anywhere. But anyways, I'm glad things are going good. If you're in the Conroe area, be sure to check out the Cajun Catfish Festival. I've gone every year since I've lived here, but a couple years ago I went and I rode one of the carny rides, Dick, and I almost died. It was it made me more thankful for the things that I have as I was riding it. It was one of those UFO ones that spins you in a circle.
Oh, I love those.
And then it goes like up 90-degree vertical,
Whoa.
except for all that was pinning, like all that secured you was you were standing in this little booth, and then they like draped a loose rope across the front of you, like it was loosely draped. And so then it was just fully relying on centrifugal force, I guess, to keep you
It's
alive.
like you ready for physics to save your life.
Yeah, I was like, I should have studied harder to really believe that this was going to work. But you know, when the beaked out carnies are assembling the rides, you just have to trust that they're.
Well, that's why I was telling. I forgot what we were talking about on the morning show, because I do a morning show also. Plug. And I talked about the reason I love carnival rides is like if you just need, every once in a while you got to take a risk in life.
Yeah,
Just go on a couple carnival rides,
Yeah.
and you'll fill that up real fast.
it makes you think. It makes you appreciate what you've got when you get off the ride and you're not dead yet. You maybe call your mom and say, "Hey,
I survived.
I love you. I just wanted you to know that I love you, Mom. I don't say it enough."
Isn't there literally an entire movie, Final Destination, based off a carnival? Isn't that like the whole movie starts? No, it's the airplane. That's how it started. But there's another one that was like roller
They're at a
coaster.
carnival.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster deal.
I feel like you could say any situation, and there was probably a Final Destination
Yeah, that's what I was
sequence
thinking.
that had to do with that.
That's interesting.
There is a Final Destination movie that starts out with the roller coaster.
Yeah, that's what I
crashing.
figured.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first one, but
Like
I've never
8 of
seen.
them live, and then they die off one by one.
Because that's where
Death has to get its pay.
Well, Death has to have his jollies ridden because he wants to have a carnival ride.
Yeah,
That's where Death hangs out,
at the carnival.
at the carnival ride.
So come on down to the Conroe Catfish Festival, everyone. Come face
yeah,
to face
what
with
about you,
death.
dude?
Bring the whole kids.
Bring all the kids.
Hey, let's
man.
focus. Let's
Sorry.
focus. We have a show.
Oh, do we? Is this on?
Well, I want to talk a lot about Catwoman today because that was
You
my
do not
punishment.
wanna waste time.
I do not want to waste time. I got a lot to talk about.
Okay, well, we'll move through things here. I'm doing good. I had a meeting this morning I was supposed to go to, and I totally forgot. But oops, sorry.
Now, was it when you say forgot? Do you mean like your phone sends you a text message to someone going, "Where the heck are you?"
Oh yeah, no.
And you're
got,
like, "Oh, I forgot."
Yes, 100%. Like I all of a sudden looked down at my phone and I had like 4 missed calls and 2 texts, and it was like 30 minutes after it was supposed to have started. And anyways, but that allowed me to have the morning to do some more research and preparation for the Ticket Stub. So even though my career is probably in jeopardy right now, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that big of a deal. But I do it all for you people. So
Now, I got a question for you though. You have an
Yeah.
iPhone, right?
Yeah,
Did
man.
you update it?
I haven't done the new one yet.
Okay, so whoever's updated, let me know if you've been having issues with your voicemail. So this morning I wake up early to watch Catwoman, and my alarm goes off, and right as my alarm goes off, a thing popped up that said voicemail. It says you have a voicemail,
Yeah.
and I hit it on accident, and it called this person at like
Uh-oh.
4:30,
Oh.
and I was like, wait a second, is this calling somebody right now? And it started calling them, and so they called me today, and they're like, hey, did you call me at 4:30 in the morning? Are you okay? And I'm like, oh, it was an accident. I've never done that before, but
I was still up from the night before.
if people have been having issues with their iPhones, let
Really?
me know.
I don't know.
Ticket Stub, Facebook, boom, hit me up.
Yeah, let us know.
How do I fix this? It keeps telling me I have voicemails, but I've checked all my voice, deleted all of them, but it keeps saying, hey, you got a voicemail from 2 days ago, 4 days ago. And I'm like, I know I got it.
Yeah.
but I don't got it.
I'm sorry, man. That's tough. Also, one more thing that has nothing to do with anything else. Astros won first round of the playoffs. Pretty excited.
Yeah, they're
about
totally
that.
going to make a movie about it. It's just a touching story.
Yeah, it is.
Harvey really is going to be the backdrop of the whole movie.
Houston's strong, man. They're doing it for the city. They're doing it for our city.
Yeah, right.
They beat the Red Sox.
They're doing it for that bump and pay.
How dare you?
You know that's in their contract. Guarantee it. Oh, you hit 20 home runs in postseason.
Dude, like half our team's
playoffs.
from Puerto Rico. They're all doing it for their hometown. They're doing it for Houston. We're banded together. We're the greatest team in the history of sports. So we're going to win the World Series, and I'm ready for it. Okay. Transition.
All right, so let's do this
pivot.
real quick.
Okay.
If they win the World Series, what movie do I have to watch? And if they lose the World Series, what movie do you have to watch? We don't have to do it now.
Okay,
but we'll come up with that.
Okay,
All right.
next week we'll have movies for if they win or if they don't win.
Yeah.
By next week the landscape could look quite a bit different as far as their opportunity, their odds to win. But we'll commit to it now, and we'll have movies for next week. All right, movie news. We mentioned it a minute ago. I don't know if everybody listening knows who Harvey Weinstein is, but he's kind of the head, well, R.I.P. He was kind of the head of the Weinstein Company, and they basically produce I don't know what percent they have of the market share, but they produce tons of huge movies. I mean, a lot of the movies that you've seen out there, I don't know if y'all ever look when the credits are rolling, but they have this big black and white kind of, lit up W, and it says the Weinstein Company underneath it. They have tons of subsidiary production companies that operate underneath them. They're like one of the biggest production companies in Hollywood.
If people don't know how the Hollywood world works, basically they're the ones that made the movie. They're the ones physically hiring the actors, hiring the director, paying everybody, and then they get a distributor. So like a Disney or like a whoever, and they're actually the ones that pay the money, pay Weinstein. Hey, we want this movie. Boop.
Yeah. So they basically get it done, and then
Weinstein sells
Universal
it,
or whatever.
So he's pretty much the talker. He's the smoother, or what do you call him? Smoozer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake, for acknowledging I was getting there. It took me a little while, but I got there.
He gets things done, and I'm sure at this point he's not doing all the gritty work.
What happened to him?
Well, it turns out that he may be a little bit of a harasser, a little bit of a sexual predator of sorts for a lot of the women that have been working for him. So, a woman came forward, and I think it's kind of one of those snowball effects where, one person and then, the reports start surfacing.
Hollywood is in itself reporting on itself for the years of sexual harassment or abuse or whatever's coming out. What's really weird, though, is when I read the article, I didn't, when it broke, it was a New York Times article, and I read it, I didn't really get where it was trying to go. Because basically what it was saying was he did all this stuff. There you go.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, hey, we need to, here's proof. Here it is. It's not he said, she said. We got it on videotape. We got this, this and that. It wasn't. It was just kind of like, he's just been doing this stuff, guys. Just letting you know.
So here you go. Well, I think Hollywood's a little bit conflicted right now because they're the ones, actors and Hollywood elite are the ones who oftentimes kind of high horse with this kind of stuff or they moralize and tell everyone what to think. And he's been all these people who are usually kind of the activists have there's footage of all them thanking him in acceptance speeches and award speeches and making jokes about what a great friend he is and all this other stuff. And so I think they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place in some ways because obviously this is a terrible thing, right? But he is kind of the king of Hollywood in a way where Hollywood is the group that often stands up for these these moral fights,
like Roman Polanski.
Yeah, well, so that's one of these things is that they're talking about whether or not they should remove him from the academy. And the
Harvey Weinstein or Roman Polanski?
Harvey Weinstein. And one of the arguments for not doing it is they didn't remove Roman Polanski after he basically,
he was tried and convicted, folks.
Yeah. And
that's a true story.
He's not living in America right now because if he was, he would be in jail. And so he's abroad, but they didn't remove him. One of the other things was talking about Mel Gibson and his many forays into the unethical. They haven't removed him. In fact, they gave him an Academy Award for Hacksaw Ridge, just a couple years or last year.
Well, I think that's a little different, though, because I don't think he can get convicted of anything.
Well, that's probably true.
I think Harvey Weinstein has a chance of, and that's something in Hollywood. I mean, that's how that world works. That's how they make movies, unfortunately, or certain movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you do something
Weinstein
for me.
movies, basically.
You
That's
do
how they make Weinstein movies.
You do something for me, and I'll put you in the movie. But anyways, they're talking about retroactively punishing him,
really,
maybe even taking away some of his Oscars.
Well, I mean, who cares about that? So when it comes down to the future of movies, how do you think this is going to impact the industry and how we're going to be seeing our movies? Like, how do you think it's going to affect anything?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing, and I think this is a question a lot of people wrestle with, which is, are you willing to watch art, or are you willing to watch something?
I mean, people saw Mother
when the producer, and I think this bleeds into sports as well. Like, are you willing to watch a movie if it's a wonderful artistic movie, but it was made by a terrible person, somebody who's done awful things? Same like football. Are you willing to watch if you're a fan of football and you love Ray Rice, and it comes out that there's a video of him just punching out his girlfriend? Well, now, can you watch football still? Can you root for your team still if he's playing on it? It's a difficult question for people to wrestle with.
I don't think people even ask the question. I don't think
they just ignore it. You think people just?
Well, I mean, it really comes down to the name Weinstein now has been known for a year, and then they'll just change the name of the company to something else, and then 10 years down the road, they're still making movies.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it seems like the ball just kind of keeps on rolling all the time.
So, unfortunately, for a lot of these folks who've been victims, it's just kind of like one of those things that you either just try something and you're going to gamble your career. I mean, that's really what it came down to. From my understanding, reading the stories, you're basically gambling your career as an actress or a director or whatever.
By putting your name out there?
By accusing people, by doing those things. And like the one I saw was Terry Crews on Twitter just went on this little deal. You can look it up, basically saying he's groped. And I'm thinking to myself, who on earth?
Who groped Terry Crews?
Yeah, like who would grope Terry Crews? It's pretty insane. And then a lot
of people probably want to grope Terry Crews.
Well, yes. But the weird thing is it went further down where he did it in public. This guy did it, Terry Crews, in front of his wife.
A guy groped Terry Crews?
At a party, like a high-end Hollywood executive.
Oh, wow.
And he later apologized. So clearly he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
But Terry Crews is like, I was ready to beat him up, but then you realize how would that look with a big black man beating up a white dude. So he and his wife, like, they just left. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that would have been a hell of a scene. And I can't believe no one made a scene of it because...
Well, Terry needs to stop making his pecs bounce all the time. That's how he got super famous.
Let's not make excuses for that guy's behavior.
I'm just kidding. That's
all
terrible.
right, that's a horrible joke.
Sorry. Okay, I apologize. Okay, well, now that the mood's ruined,
let's talk about Catwoman.
Hey! Okay, do we want to go to break?
Yeah, we got to
Let's go to break first.
Okay, let's run a break. When we come back, we'll rewind the movies that we've seen last week, including maybe a little bit of a tease and talk about the new Star Wars trailer right here on the Ticket Stub.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
And are you even on? Welcome back on the Ticket Stub. We're about to rewind the movies that we've seen from last week. Dick has got a small novel to talk about when it comes to Catwoman. I don't have a whole lot to say. I've got several things to say, but I can do it pretty quickly here. We both watched one movie last week. The movie I watched is from 1971. It is a comedy, an hour and 22 minutes long, streaming on Hulu right now. It is called Bananas. And yeah, Bananas. That's right. I have to say it.
It's bananas.
Yeah. Yeah. It was written and directed by Woody Allen, starring Woody Allen. This is one of his earlier comedy movies. Dick said, how did you even hear of that? Yeah, great question. I needed a movie to watch for the show this week. Got on Netflix. They're mostly like their own movies and then TV shows. And I was like, Hulu sometimes has good stuff. Hopped on there, scrolling through, trying to find something I hadn't seen. Saw Woody Allen and Bananas and thought, you know what? Hour 22, that sounds like a good time. I'll see what it's all about. The plot for Bananas: when a bumbling New Yorker is dumped by his activist girlfriend, he travels to a tiny Latin American country and becomes involved in its latest rebellion. Basically, this is as Woody Allen of a movie as Woody Allen could possibly be. It's a lot of little snarky dialogue back and forth, but also this is like super slapstick and ridiculous. But some of the jokes, sometimes they would not land, and they would make a silly, a stupid joke, and I'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" And then like 30 seconds later, I find myself like, it's like almost that embarrassed laughter where you're kind of like turning your face away as you laugh because you're like, "Am I really laughing at this?" But I was. I liked it. I thought it was funny. It kind of died off at the end. Like the middle of it, I really thought was great. It was just a lot of gags. It was kind of gag after gag after gag. And a bunch of little like kind of. It was a thing where somebody would say, like they'd be having a really, serious conversation about something like, the dictator said, I brought you here because you're intellectual and because I can have intelligent American conversations with you. And then Woody Allen says, oh, here, by the way, I brought you a cupcake. It's like just stupid, like little side notes like that. Or the very first scene of the movie, the dictator is getting shot by the rebels and Howard Cosell is announcing it like a boxing match, And after the guy gets shot, Howard Cosell's like, now I'm going to try to get through the crowd here to see if there's any final words from the dictator. Dictator, how did you know it was all over? And just a lot of ridiculous stuff like that. It's on Hulu. If you like Woody Allen, I think you need to have seen this movie to really be a fan of his, especially if you're in a little bit of a silly mood. And I think this is more accessible to the average person than some Woody Allen movies. I think sometimes his movies are kind of out there, kind of weird. And this one I think anybody could watch. And
Are you continuing the theme of creepy Hollywood people?
Well, Woody Allen's a little bit weird.
I mean, he married his daughter.
It was like kind of his daughter, right?
He adopted her with his wife and raised her and then married her.
Sunyi, what was her name?
I mean, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I know. We're on a theme here today.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to be, but we are. That's when you're a pro, when you accidentally stay on theme all the time. Anyways, Bananas. It's on Hulu right now. If you're looking for kind of a lighthearted comedy movie, if you want to laugh, this would be one. I mean, it's from 1971, so it feels a little dated. It actually holds up pretty well, but it has a lot of those older film, hallmarks where it's like, really long takes. Not a lot of, nowadays movies cut, it's like every 3 seconds, cut. This one has those longer takes. But the pace of the movie overall is pretty good. So I'd say check it out. All right.
Bananas. Now,
B-A-N-A-N-A.
so I lost the game last episode. You can check it out and hear all the glory of the horrible game that he rigs every time we play a game. So the loser had to watch Catwoman, 2004 movie.
Meow.
It is an hour and 44 minutes, and I'm still trying to figure out why they made this.
Yeah.
Because then a year later, they came out with Batman Begins.
Was it that close to Batman Begins?
But it was a year later. So I was trying to figure out, okay, clearly there was a successful Batman superhero movie that goes, hey, we need to do a Catwoman spinoff. And it was a spinoff. It has nothing to do with Batman.
Is Batman mentioned?
There's literally no mention of Batman in this. This is what is it? I have it in my head. It's some term they use. It's an origin story that has nothing to do with Batman. It's really strange. And that first off the bat, that's one thing I was waiting for.
Was Batman?
I was waiting for something like the Gotham or something that was Batman-ish.
Did it mention Gotham?
Nope. It was almost like they chose to do a movie of the mid 2000s in LA or like New York, downtown New York. And it was like really the whole feel of the movie felt like it was directed by a person who just got off directing 10 chick flicks in a row, like Made in Manhattan and those kind of movies. Really, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like,
trust me, I know Made in Manhattan.
Well, I mean, movies like that. So, like the whole way, all the cinematography, all the dialogue felt like those kind of movies. And then there was randomly a Catwoman in it.
Well, if you remember that you started it during last week's show, you started the movie. And she was all about like, I was a high-tech designer in Hollywood or something.
Well, no, there were scenes to drive some of the plot between her friend who goes to the hospital that you later learn that the cosmetic company they work for is poisoning people.
Of course.
But they're literally having conversations throughout the show because her friend collapses at the very beginning. Take her to the hospital. Next scene, she's supposed to have a date with Benjamin Bratt, Halle Berry with the cop. And before she goes, her friend calls from the hospital and disregard how she's feeling. She's like, "Hey, how'd the date go? Tell me about the date. Is he like super cute? The whole scene was about how cute Benjamin Bratt was. They had 2 scenes like this.
Okay.
Like while she's dying in the hospital, like we don't care about how she's feeling. Oh, just tell me about that hunky guy you've been going out with. Really weird. But probably the weirdest thing about the movie are these 2 things. They literally have a cat breathe into her to make her Catwoman.
Was it like a radioactive cat?
No, it was a spirit cat.
Oh, okay. Duh. Yeah.
And they literally had another thing they did is they took the cat thing to the highest degree that you could possibly go.
Like everything was cat.
She's addicted to catnip.
Of course.
Halle Berry is. This is Halle Berry. There's
Gosh,
literally a scene. There's a scene of her rubbing catnip on her face. She's like, "Oh my god, oh my god," and then she literally hisses at dogs,
like just randomly,
like a cat hiss,
like she can't help herself.
Yep. And that's actually right before her friend collapses because they're walking the streets of New York talking about Benjamin Bratt and how hot he is.
Well, he's pretty hot.
And then and she hisses at a dog, and her friend's like, "Did you just do that?" And then she collapses. And then she also sleeps like a cat, so she sleeps high up in her loft and creepy ways,
like on top of the fridge.
There's a scene of her, stuff like that. And there's a scene of her.
Does she
eating,
poop in a litter box? We get to see that.
I was waiting. I literally was going, what else are they going to do next in this movie? She eats a lot of tuna out of the can.
Is there ever a little hanging ball of fur? And she's like,
the catnip thing is equivalent to that to me because that's actually how this woman, who's literally a cat lady, has cats everywhere in the house.
Halle Berry does?
No,
the other lady.
The woman who tells her who she is, who she's become, and that was a weird scene because that's how she tests her.
Oh, with catnip.
With catnip, she goes, "Oh, before you leave," throws a ball with the catnip in it, and she catches it, and she's like sniffs it, and then that's when she starts rubbing it all over herself. And I'm telling you, it's so bizarre. But probably the best scene with the cold cat thing was at the end, like towards the end. She's going to a club looking for a suspect person, and she goes, "Can I get a White Russian or whatever it was, but without the Kahlua? So just milk." And so she's at the club, and the guy's like winks at her and gives her, and she's wearing her full costume,
like leather,
full costume
was it Halloween
with a mask
anything?
and hair. No,
just a random night.
And it was so bizarre, and I was like, man, they're really taking this to the next level about this cat stuff.
Okay, so guaranteed me and you could write a movie better than this, right?
Well, that's one thing I kept asking myself while watching this. I go, why on earth wouldn't they just take the opportunity to make the Selena Kyle story? Like, why not? Like, why not make a Catwoman movie based off the Catwoman and the Batmans we've seen? Because it's a good story. And that's what kind of puzzled me. But then I realized if you look at the people who made this movie, basically it's people who want to control the fashion sense, because you can see every type of 2000-ish fashions, like the haircuts, the dresses, they're kind of like shoving it in your face, especially when she does her makeover, when she becomes Catwoman. You got to look at the photos, like post Catwoman, pre Catwoman.
Yeah.
Because basically she turns into another person after the cat breathes into her. I mean, there is a scene, and I wish we could talk to Nick about this, about special effects, because the scene where she dies makes no sense how she gets there, but she gets washed out like a chemical plant washout, and she's on this like little island.
Wait, she dies?
Oh, that's the beginning. She dies.
Oh, and then the cat breathes life into her.
Brings her back.
Okay.
And that's how she becomes Catwoman.
Now that makes sense. Okay, I was a little bit
it doesn't make any
confused,
sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
But what's weird is you think she gets washed into this little island rock outside the New York. I think it's New York, and all of these cats are surrounding her, and they're doing close-ups of at least 9 different cats, like real cats. And I'm thinking, like, what are they trying to tell me here? And I want to know the special effects guy, because, like, all right, can you imagine filming a scene where you're lying still and there's supposed to be like 30 to 40 cats around you just staring at you? And I don't know, it'd be really creepy. And that's when the cat sits on top of her. CGI cat sits on top of her, just breathes into her. But outside that,
but outside all that, it was a great film. Loved it a lot.
All that nastiness.
I mean, there's a lot of scenes. It's almost like if you want to make fun of a movie, and then people make drinking games to stupid movies like this. There's there's opportunities written all over this movie. It was a great punishment because I watched it. Like, I literally sat down and watched every scene, And another thing they did in the movie, and this is something I would love to talk to the editor of the movie or whoever does their post editing, is that in Lord of the Rings, there's kind of a glow on like the elves and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, they had that on everybody in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Like everybody had a little glow, and it's almost like they forgot to turn the filter off.
They had that chrome filter on their iPhone.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like even the lights, you could see the little glow effect. And
very artistic.
There's other good actors in this movie. Like Sharon Stone's in it. She's the bad person. You want to know what her superpower was?
Being really mean.
So the backdrop of this whole movie is they're a makeup company. Well, what happens is Halle Berry stumbles upon this secret meeting with scientists and the head honcho. They're talking about this new makeup that's killing people. It's going to kill you. Well, a side effect of the makeup, if you stop using it, it turns you into marble.
Oh.
So later, the only way who can fight Catwoman is Sharon
That's
Stone.
just science right there.
Yeah, and they try to punch her and it breaks.
Oh, with marble face.
And
Okay.
like, well, no, like she's perfect. And she's like,
Oh.
if I stop using it, I'll die. So I had to keep using it. Now I turn into basically her skin's marble. And I was like, really? That's, and she doesn't even look it. She looks like Sharon Stone.
But she just is unpunchable.
It's just unpunchable. Like it makes no sense.
Oh, man. Well, I had to look it up on Rotten Tomatoes. 9% on the tomato meter for Catwoman.
There is.
Here's a game. We need to invent some sort of a game like this. But so 195 critics reviewed Catwoman. 17 gave it a fresh review, which means they thought it was above a 60%. There's got to be a way that we could figure out how to make fun of those critics or something like that for a movie like
Ban
this.
them from ever using Rotten Tomatoes.
My final two things I gotta get this out. So there's a solid death scene in this movie, which I was really surprised about because it seemed to be like a PG movie all the way through, like with dialogue and the way they act, and like there wasn't a lot of sexuality, but there was. So the end of the movie, Sharon Stone falls from a building,
crash into a million pieces,
and you watch the whole fall, like thump. And I was like, whoa, like they showed her thump. And I was really surprised by that. I don't know. I don't know if you think people falling and dying is really cool, but it always shocks me when we actually watch the whole thing.
normally it cuts away.
But yeah, man, that was really funny. And the second thing I really loved is they kept doing the empowerment of women in this movie. Like that was a huge theme about how women don't need men and like the duality of cats. Like cats have like
independent, strong.
Yeah, they're independent yet nurturing. And then like all this kind of stuff. And then of course at the very end, she leaves Benjamin Bratt because Benjamin Bratt can't be part of her cat world. But then you have her dressed in the most ridiculous costume that basically shoves her boobs in your face and her butt. And I'm thinking to myself, why would they have this whole empowerment thing?
But then she's all
sexualized. And she even walks like a cat walk.
Was this a Weinstein movie?
I mean, it would not surprise me. But
who produced this?
We're really watching it though. Maybe I want to ask the folks who make movies, not the Weinstein Company, but I want to ask them to make a Catwoman movie, like Selena Kyle style, Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns. Like that would be a legit movie, and it gives you a little bit insight of who the Catwoman is besides stealing jewelry and licking things.
Yeah,
like, I don't.
Super weird. 9% of critics thought it was a above average movie though, so they should all be fired immediately. All right, we got to go to the bottom of the hour break. When we come back, we are going to talk for just a second about Star Wars, and then we are going to talk about our top 3 favorite remake movies from the past. So stick with us here on the Ticket Stub.
Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Hey, Montgomery County, it's me, C.C. Holmes. And I would personally like to take this time to invite you, that's right, you, to join me every Saturday and Sunday from 3 until 7 p.m., Well, I will bring you the very best of smooth jazz, classic jazz, and indeed, yes, the soulful sounds of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So come along and get jazzy with me. That's right, jazzy. Right here, of course, on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM, or worldwide at irlongstar.com.
All right, and we're back here on the Ticket Stub. We just talked Rewind, Catwoman, and Bananas. We've also talked a little movie news with what's going on with the Weinsteins.
Catwoman is bananas. I agree. Thank you.
Catwoman is bananas. Definitely check out both those movies if you have tons and tons
Netflix,
and tons and tons of free time. Yeah, Hulu for bananas.
No, free time. Scratch that. I'm talking today.
Scratch that.
Today.
Yeah.
Check out Catwoman. It really is a wonderful film.
Yeah, I bet it
There's
is.
a basketball scene in it.
So I was reading some of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. We don't any more time, but the guy was like, "You had me at the basketball scene."
Yeah, I mean,
that was one of the positive reviews.
I'm telling you, the movie's just random, man. Like I don't get it.
Okay, well, it's the Ticket Stub. You can check us out on Facebook, the Ticket Stub Podcast, or Twitter at @the_Ticket Stub, theticketstubpodcast at gmail.com. You can always listen to us on irlonestar.com or 104.5, 106.1 on Conroe's local FM. Please subscribe to our podcast feeds. Tell a friend, guys. You spreading the word to your friends is how this thing's going to grow. And the more it grows, the more fun stuff we're going to be able to do, the more we're going to be able to continue to give away tickets and everything like that. So tell somebody about it. Tell your girlfriend, tell your parents, tell that one friend from high school that you don't talk to anymore. Just go ahead and spread the word around. Okay, we're about to do our top 3 remakes. Just our favorites. This isn't like necessarily in order of any sort of fame or prestige or anything like that. Just remakes that are our 3 favorites. But before we do that, I want to talk real quickly about Star Wars trailer. It dropped. I guess it was.
Isn't it a teaser, or is it a trailer? I thought it was a teaser.
Teaser trailer. It was 2.5 minutes. That's trailer length. I don't know.
Not today.
It was 2 days ago.
No, I mean like today's Trailer World. Trailer World today is like 6 minutes.
Well, some of them can get pretty long, but this, I think it was just the trailer. Maybe it was a teaser. I'm not sure. I really even know the difference between the two. But a couple things that I watched it, saw, read a little bit about it. As far as just the look of the movie, not what it looks like as far as quality, but the look of the camera and everything like that. I think this is going to be a really amazing looking movie. With the color, with the angles of the shots, with just everything like that. It just seems like at least the clips they picked for the trailer look really cool. Dick, are you excited about Star Wars?
I really hope they answer all the questions I had during the what's the other one called? The one that wrote before this one. I just went blank again. I'm sorry.
Force Awakens.
Yeah. See, I hated that movie, and it was only because some of the stuff they did didn't make any sense to me. So I really hope they clear that up, because I can totally see myself liking The Force Awakens after I see The Last Jedi or the.
Okay, so this might make you like the other one.
I
more.
hope. I just didn't really understand a lot of the Star Wars stuff that went on to it, because I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. But...
So the last one wasn't The Force Awakens, right? It was,
yeah, that was the last one.
Well, Rogue One, but that's different.
But that's different, right?
Rogue One is kind of its own universe.
It's a rogue movie.
It's prequel to everything, right?
No, it's the bridge.
Yeah, Rogue One is the bridge between
3 and 4.
Well, 1, 2, 3, the Hayden Christensen movies, and then 4, 5, 6, which are the Mark Hamill movies or whatever. Rogue One is what happens in between those ones. Force Awakens is after 6, which is when Darth Vader and all that kind of good stuff and all everything happens.
So this new one's 8.
So this is 8. This is Star Wars Episode 8, and then there eventually will be Star Wars Episode 9, and in between there, they're I think doing a Han Solo spin-off movie, and so it's kind of become this whole big thing.
You see Mark Hamill's haircut?
Is he looking?
That's what I wanted it to be, but I didn't. I had to get a haircut.
Oh, you wanted to have long hair?
I was getting there.
Beautiful flowing locks. So the one thing I think about this, it looks like this is going to be a movie. If we're considering Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and whatever the 9th one's going to be is a kind of a unit, this seems like the movie where things are going to go really bad. That's what I got from the trailer. It seems like whatever Ro or whatever her name is, it seems like she is going to kind of turn into bad.
It's just Rey. You don't have to overcomplicate it.
Rey. It seems like Luke Skywalker's kind of getting all emo. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff blowing up in the trailer. It seems like everything's on fire. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a movie that leaves you kind of with things at a low spot, and then the 9th one is going to kind of be responsible for bringing the story back around. So anyways, we'll see Star Wars. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, you need to check it out because you need to be aware of what's going on. And this is going to be the biggest release,
of the year. Much.
I would say. I don't know if it'll do the biggest, but this whole franchise is so huge.
What's the release date?
It's like
December
Christmas.
17th.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, that sounds
December
right.
14th. Got it. Boom. Or 15th. Okay, I'm looking at the page that has 2 different dates, folks. You need to get on this. It literally says in theaters December 14th, and then it has a poster December 15th.
Yeah, maybe that's one of those like Thursday night release things.
And you wonder why we pirate stuff.
And you wonder why we just I tried and failed about that this week. Anyways, never mind. Okay, we're gonna do top 3 best remakes or our 3 favorite remakes of movies that have been redone. We'll go worst to best as far or third to first. That's what I'm thinking. I'll do the one that I like the third most. So this my third one. I don't want to call it a cop out, but
Is the movie cop out?
No, not the movie cop out. I haven't seen that, and I'm guessing it's not a remake of anything. But from 2006, the movie is The Departed. Okay, admission. I never have seen the other one, and I didn't really even know that it was a
What
remake.
did you say?
The Departed.
Yeah, Internal Affairs.
Yeah. How did you know the other movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. I didn't even know it was a remake.
When I was like 16 to like 19, I was really into those like just cult movies, either foreign or whatever. I was watching some weird movies.
Yeah, so 2002 Hong Kong movie Internal Affairs is what is, I guess, spun off into The Departed. I'm guessing the Hong Kong version didn't have to do with Boston. Just my
No, actually did. Everything
just yeah, bunch of Asians with Boston accents. Now that's a movie I would watch. I'm gonna go on a limb and say The Departed is a better movie. I don't know, Dick. You've seen Internal Affairs.
It just depends. I mean, my issue with foreign movies is that subtitles really create a different world.
Is that they're not
for
American?
you. Well, no, it creates a different world.
Yeah.
And so dialogue is really important when you're reading more. It's like, and so for some reason, foreign movies for me, I like it more because I get more engaged because I actually have to read and do things.
What do you think? What's your take on dubbing, like English dubbing?
Oh, I hate it.
I don't like it.
I hate it.
I'd rather.
It's actually kind of funny.
I'd rather do the subtitles.
Well, I was
than the
telling you
dubbing.
about that when I was watching Akira, where the dubbing just didn't translate well, and I kind of didn't get the emotion, the depth of the emotion in that movie because they sounded like kids. Oh no, like that. I'm like, come on now, these people are dying.
All right, so for me, The Departed, I love The Departed. It's one of my favorite cable movies because it's on TV like 24/7. And if I ever start it or hop in, I'm gonna watch the rest of it. So love The Departed. It was remade from some Hong Kong movie I never had heard of, but since it is technically a remake, I'm making that my third favorite one. All right, Dick, what do you got?
Well, my movie is a 2002 remake of a Hong Kong crime thriller called Internal Affairs. It's called The Departed.
Okay.
And I was kidding. Actually, that was really one of mine.
Was it? You can make it your third, and we can just move on.
And what the other ones I wanted to say was the Man with No Name series. Fistful of Dollars and all that. It's kind of made off of Akira Kurosawa's movies like Yojimbo and stuff. I really like. I don't know if you technically call that a remake, but
I think you can.
The storyline is very similar. I think there's even some type of agreement between the people who made the movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think technically they had to like get licensing or whatever.
Yeah, and
I
it was
don't know what the right term is.
And those movies are really good, and it kind of gave birth to a certain type of Western movie, which I like. But Yojimbo and those kind of movies are really good.
Okay, cool. So all the Fistful series or the Man with No Name series, I guess. Fistful of Dollars, Fistful of
A few dollars more, and then okay. Thank you for putting me on the spot. Are you that guy from this weekend? Like, geez,
By the way, I got some trivia for you if you want to do that. Okay, so I got The Departed number 3. You got the Man with No Name series as number 3. Number 2 from 2010, another remake of another Western movie called True Grit. I don't know if everybody liked True Grit, but I did. And
Which one?
The 2010,
the remake.
The remake. No, it's hard to argue with the original being a great movie. You know, you got John Wayne involved. You got Glenn Campbell.
Pretty sure he slaps his wife in that movie, right?
Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be so socially acceptable today. But anyway,
great movie. Let's promote it. Let's get people to watch it.
I love it.
Way to go! You're one of those people.
I agree with everything in it. But the new one has some great things going for it. First off, the Coen brothers, who are pretty much always a must see for me when they make movies. And then Jeff Bridges, who I also love a lot.
How do you understand him?
Well, he did.
I hated. That's why I hated that movie.
He did a little ball. That's what I want to talk.
He's like, "Hey, girl."
Yeah. But anyways, man, we're good at impressions, aren't we?
He just growls at people.
But then it's got Matt Damon, Josh Brolin, who I think Josh Brolin was actually one of the weaker parts of this movie for me personally. And then Haley Steinfeld, who I think, or Steinfeld, whatever. I think she's popular in other stuff now, but she was unrecognizable from what she looks like now. Is this because she was like 8? or something. But I think this was a solid Western. I think a lot of times Western movies for me kind of feel like they land a little bit flat sometimes. But this one I think didn't. I really enjoyed it. True Grit 2010. All right, what else?
Well, you need to see Open Range then.
I don't think I've seen
With
Open
Kevin
Range.
Costner. You need to check that.
Wait,
That's a good
no, hold
Western
on.
movie.
Is it super long?
Yeah, it's really good. You would totally love it.
I think I have seen Open Range. Is it like 4 hours long? Not
Yeah.
4 hours.
So since Eternal Affairs was already taken, I want to do
Okay.
2 quick ones.
Okay.
The Hidden Fortress was another Akira Kurosawa movie, and Star Wars is based off of it very
Really?
loosely. Yeah.
So this Akira Kurosawa guy is pretty
Oh,
important.
he's pretty. He and his team over there made some really cool movies, but they had good stories to tell. So I would check out Hidden Fortress. That's a cool. Basically, it's these two who C-3PO and R2-D2 are based off of. 2 jokester samurais are trying to escort a princess.
Okay.
And that's kind of the base of the movie. And on their way, they meet another strong samurai guy like Han Solo, and then Luke Skywalker and all that kind of stuff. So it's a cool movie. Another one is The 13th Warriors, based off of the Antonio Banderas movie. It's based off of Beowulf.
Really?
And the story of Beowulf, which, I don't know if you call that a remake, but I liked The 13th Warrior. I thought it was, growing up, it was one of those cool movies I was allowed to watch, and people got their heads cut off. So it's totally cool.
Wow, so you're going to promote that kind of a movie where people get their heads cut off?
Speaking of which, another remake I would like to see is someone remake Highlander, please. I watched Highlander recently, and that movie was so cool, but then there's so many bad parts about it because it was made in the 80s. And
just the worst decade.
Well, no, because you know how like in the 80s they had to inject the 80s into it somehow, either it's and like inadvertently do it. They did that. Like this movie, you ever seen Highlander?
Yeah, a long time ago.
So there's basically this guy can never die. So they have back in 1500 Scotland, really cool scenes. I like those scenes a lot. And then when they come back to 1980, they have Queen.
Yeah.
Like one of the weirdest things I forgot about that movie is there's a beautiful Scotland, hills and everything, and it's showing all the sheep and everything. All of a sudden you hear Queen slowly come up, and I'm like, wait a second, what's Queen singing this stuff? And they did the soundtrack, parts of the songs. I was like, this doesn't fit.
The 80s couldn't help themselves, man. Pretty much everything from the 80s that was made then is bad except for me. So
and there's a montage set in the 1500s in Scotland to Queen.
Yeah,
like he's sharpening his sword, he's hugging his girl, and he's definitely. It's.
Nothing says 1500 Scotland like a little Queen, right?
Well, now you know it's
little Freddie Mercury in the background.
Little Freddie Mercury.
No, what's getting to me now is
he wouldn't have made it in 1500 Scotland.
You hear about this Harvey Weinstein thing, and you talk about all the sexual harassment. Now, while watching this movie, he grabs the girl, and as an actor, he grabs her very aggressively, and he always tries to grab her butt. And I'm like, that's not really necessary in the scene because he's
method acting.
He's like, oh, I love you. Like, basically, he's just embracing her like, I love you. But you definitely see some tush grab. And I'm like, I wonder if that counts. Does that count?
Here's the deal. I know women, I know that I feel like in 2017, men and women treat each other mostly okay. But
in the 80s,
but I get why the women are all on a rampage because it was pretty bad for pretty much all of history. Even like in the 80s and stuff, it was still there.
Okay. But no, I'm talking about though. You watch movies and you're like, did they mean to do that? Like that seems kind of a little too handsy.
Sometimes it's a little bit awkward and doesn't really hold up.
And I feel like movies sometimes throw in sex scenes where it's like, do we really need a sex scene here? Like,
well, they used to do it before. I think it was just a way that they could get people to watch it because it's like, oh, you could see someone naked. But anyways, all right, number one, my best remake, my favorite remake is.
Is that why you watch those movies?
No, Dick. My number one is from 2013. It is a movie called Old Boy.
Oh, man.
Remake of a 2003 South Korean movie called Old Boy. It has Josh Brolin, and again, he was in True Grit. He's in this one as well. But he's stuck in a room for like 20 years as a prisoner, and then he actually escapes. And the rest of the movie is him kind of getting revenge on all the people that held him in the room and trying to figure out why he was there in the first place. No, the 2003 version of this, I think I like it more than the 2013 one, but I really like the 2013 one as well. I just
really?
I did like it. Yeah. Did you saw both of them?
They didn't have the same ending, didn't they?
Well, it does. It goes a little bit on a different. Yeah, it goes a little bit different direction.
He didn't.
Well, hold on. Yeah. It goes
his daughter, right? Is that what it was?
No.
In the 2003 one, he falls in love with his daughter, and that's the whole deal. At the end, he makes her forget.
Okay. Well, now you're making me. It was his daughter.
Yeah, dude. That's why that movie's weird.
Oh, well, yeah, that is weird.
Told you I was into weird movies back in the day.
Yeah, seriously. I don't remember the daughter element.
You really don't remember that? Like that? I was watching that movie. I go, wait a second. I just ruined it for a lot of our listeners.
Yeah, oops.
But I mean, I was watching that. You got to watch it again.
Okay, I need to go
seriously,
rewatch
'cause
it.
I was like, they're not going there.
Yeah.
They are not going there. And they went there. And
And
I
they
was
did
like, this movie just went from good to great.
Yeah, now I love it. Favorite movie ever. Anyways, Old Boy, a lot of great killing. If you like to see,
Oh, it's cool. They started that whole hallway fight scene.
Exactly.
That's what gave birth to those horrible remakes of the hallway fight scene. The one continuous shot.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing too. We only have like 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
I never really understood the Japanese, or that was South Korean movie. I think it's South Koreans in their movies. They always have axe wielding henchmen.
Seems like an ineffective.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like
tool.
it never makes sense when there's an action scene. There's always one guy. It's like, oh yeah, let me reach into my coat and pull out my axe.
Well, I think they want to have like different weapons, so you see the guy fight like different kinds of fights, maybe or something. I don't know. I'm just trying
But
to
it's
justify
true. Like
it.
watch all the other action movies, and I guess like South Korea just has a real axe problem with their gangsters.
Yeah.
Because it's like legitimate. You think he's pulling out guns. Like they have a holster. He has a holster for his axe.
Yeah, his body spray.
And yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you have one more? Or are you done?
That was it. Yeah, I
Okay.
snuck in Star Wars for you.
You snuck in a little Star Wars. That's right. Okay. So best remakes. If you have a remake you want to let us know, you can post it, and maybe we'll give it a watch and talk about it next week on the show. We do want to talk about the grand ticket giveaway this week. So what we did was we've been posting, and we're going to continue to do it this way at least for a little while. Which is we're just going to make a post talking about the show. And people who like it and retweet it or favorite or like it on Facebook or share it on Facebook, that's going to enter you in for an opportunity to win the tickets for next week. This week, we actually had our biggest participation ever, Dick. Pretty exciting. And
+2.
do what?
No, I'm just kidding.
+2? Yeah.
Well, you know, we have been getting a lot of listeners, and I encourage. One thing I've noticed in our stats is a lot of people are going back, checking out other shows.
Oh, are the old shows starting
The
to gain?
old shows,
starting
yeah.
to gain views also?
I think our 3rd episode has over 300 people checking it out.
No
So,
way.
Yeah,
3rd total episode?
yeah.
What did we do? What was so good about our 3rd episode?
I think that's when I think Chris Appel is on repeat over there at the Grand. Everybody listen to the show, okay? I'm on the show. I'm Chris. That's what I was like.
That's an order. Is that your impression of Chris? Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Hope you don't listen to this.
Yeah.
One. Oh, yeah, man. Anyways, so this week the winner is going to be Brady Cox, who...
Thank you, Brandy.
Brady.
Brady.
And Brandy.
Stubby.
If there's someone named Brandy out there also, we also thank you. Looking ahead next week, we're going to do more ticket giveaways. I'm going to try to watch... I'm still trying to get to Blade Runner. I'm a slacker.
You should do that. I'm gonna watch Assassin's Creed.
Okay. Michael Fassbender?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this on HBO Go. I'm gonna check it out.
Enjoy.
I want to watch the creepy Wonder Woman movie coming out in theaters. tomorrow.
The one that's like about the guy who made Wonder Woman, not actually about Wonder Woman?
Yeah, and about how
What's it called? Like Dr. Something and his Wonder Woman?
And his Wonder Woman, yeah. And it's
Do you think they're gonna put a sex scene in it just because they need to put a sex scene in it?
Well, no, but like this whole movie is about sex.
Yeah,
And,
is it like-
how-
Is that why you want to see it?
Yes. Yes.
I'm just kidding with you.
But there's some, like-
Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. That's what it's called.
that's what it is. But is there some? It's like weird though, right?
Yeah, it's like naughty tie up, like dirty stuff.
And then
well,
some-
I mean,
okay.
it's something that doesn't need to be made. Is really what it comes down to. Because
Well, Dick, you saw 50 Shades of Grey.
I did, and I saw the one after it.
You saw Shades Darker or whatever it was called. Anyway, whatever. Next week, we're hopefully going to have Chris Appel on. We got to wrap the show up. Be sure you are liking and subscribing to everything at @_ticket stub. By the time this show posts on our podcast feed, we will have our posts up on social media that you can like for a chance to win tickets the next week. As always, thank you for listening. Jake,
Thank you.
Good to have you,
Thanks,
man.
Jake.
Thanks, guys.
See you later,
And-
Connor.
See you later, Dick. And we'll see you next week, guys.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.